another compilation video from our new player tournament where we had so many signups. I couldn't get to all the good replays, so gathered up the ones I didn't get to cast and thrown them together for standalone videos. We have Yashkov versus Grumps. Two newer players to the tournament scene. I don't know how long they've been playing in quick battles or in other areas, but they're new to me. We have Slaanesh Greenskins. A doable matchup for Slaanesh, among not very many. We have two Hellstriders, the anti-large variant that have been nerfed into the ground, and most people don't consider them very good at all. Two regular Demonettes of Slaanesh, Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh, with Acquiescence and the Whip, and Sibilant Slaughtercade, ROR Chariot, and then a bunch of Devoted Marauders, an Exalted Demonette, some Chaos Warriors with Hell Scourges, and Sigvald the Magnificent. A little bit of a grab bag army. Just some of this, some of that, some of those. For the Greenskins, we have two Forest Goblin Spider Riders, some Savage Orc and Orc Boarboy Biggins, two Trolls, one of which is the River Troll ROR, the other is just a regular-ass Troll. Orc Boys in the front line, one Savage Orc Biggin in the back line, Grom the Paunch, and a Night Goblin Casta with Curse of the Bad Moon and Gorkle Fix-It. I have really been liking Savage Orc Biggins in a lot of matchups as I played Greenskins. Big fan of those. Acquiescence is cast on these Orc Boarboy Biggins. They get surrounded by Demonettes and the Hellstriders, and they will get swiftly torn apart. Just so supremely outnumbered. Some Orc Boys are coming up to help them out, but it will be too little and too late, I assume. Forest Goblin Spider Riders trying to harass the Sibilant Slaughtercade, but those guys seem to just be ignoring them and going in after Orc Biggins instead. They do get some leadership and damage resistance and such from getting kills, so they just want to get into the melee combat as soon as possible. So they are taking significant damage off in the distance. The flank fight continues as Orc Boys and Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins join in on the battle, but Exalted Demonettes, these are just the regulars. Regular Demonettes still are just happy to get a fight where they're not getting shot or charged constantly. So if these guys stay in the fight, then the Demonettes will be very happy as the Trolls start to also join in. Grom the Paunch and the Orc Boys go into the front line, though Slaanesh's front line is far superior here. They've just brought a lot more and better units than these Orc Boys. And Sibilant Slaughtercade roll through the Savage Orc Biggins, doing next to no damage. And Curse of the Bad Moon comes out, doing pretty good, honestly, against these Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh. And it does hurt the Orc Boys if it goes through them, but it does not apply the debuff that it does to these guys, the Nasty Curse. The Nasty Curse only applies to enemies. Grom is fighting Sigvald, which he does not want to be doing. He'll need to back out of here as soon as possible. In the flank fight, was kind of a wash. Slaanesh took a lot of damage, Greenskins took a lot of damage, neither side is particularly happy, and they got both back off. The Sibilant Slaughtercade spend too long in the Savage Orc Biggins and do get cleaved, and some Chaos Warriors are next up to bat. Meanwhile, Orc Boys fight these Exalted Demonettes and Spear Marauders, while Forest Goblin Spider Riders offer a little bit of firing support. Orc Boys will lose. Oh, those are Orc Biggins. Orc Biggins will still lose, but they'll hold for a bit. First Wah is out. Grom still needs to back out of this fight. He's really not winning it versus Sigvald and does need to just buy some time for that regen to save him. Elsewhere, the Greenskins are doing well. It's just Grom fighting Sigvald's not great, fortunately for him. Hellstriders take a fight with Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins. Now, this is probably the best fight they're going to get because the Savage Orc Boarboys don't have high armor, which these guys don't have high armor piercing, so they can at least get through them a little bit. That is a favorable trade considering the price difference between the two units. Sorcerer of Slaanesh trying to go get involved somewhere. Grom is still not backed off from fighting Sigvald. The Exalted Demonettes are getting through those Orc Biggins. They've finished those guys off in the distance. Sigvald's cruising, coming back in this game a little bit for the side of Slaanesh. Orc Biggins and Orc Boys are chilling, Trolls running around, doing good work, and Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh is actually going to try and snipe the Night Goblin Shaman. He is very squishy, but he's also a foot character, which can make him tankier than he would appear if he gets knocked over. Grom does back his way away from Sigvald, and Orc Boarboy Biggins now surround the Prince of Slaanesh. Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins getting chased down by the last of these Hellstriders, who are just trying to get more army passive for Slaanesh going. And Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh is now in a many v1 that he's not about to win. See what he can do about that. If something's happening here, it's a Gorkle Fix-It speed debuff for any of the Slaanesh units that maybe want to get out of here. While Fascination does Rampage the Spider Riders, Rampage does bring them into melee contact. Oh, and then a really nice Curse of the Bad Moon cast on top of all these Demonettes, lowering their melee stats down. Still have an impressive 61 melee attack at the moment, but oh well. And the damage is key, and then you get those demonic units to start crumbling away. Looks like the sorcerer is going to get pushed off too. Swamp Thing's still chilling. And there go the last of the demonettes. Oh, those are the exalted demonettes. That's why their melee attack was so high. I see. At this point, there really is no hope for Slaanesh. They do try and snipe out Grom the Paunch. He pops himself some buffs and tries to walk away. Eventually does get over towards the Swamp Things, which can push off the Hellstriders and get him to safety. Gorkle Fix-It slows down Sigvald by a little bit of space. We are getting down to just Slaanesh, Hero Hammer, versus all these greenskins. Which, I mean, Sigvald is spooky, but you do have 2 full health trolls that are going to regen while they armor pierce him, and then Grom can occasionally come in for some buffs, though he is overcommitting right now and taking more damage than he should. He does need to get out of here. He starts to back off. Greenskins are running down Slaanesh everywhere else, and the writing is on the wall at this point. Now, Yashikov did ask for tips on playing Slaanesh in this specific matchup. First, I think Sigvald is a bait. I think he is a strong lord in some cases, but he's just good at not dying, which, as Slaanesh, you kind of need your lord to do some serious work. I personally, not a meme, really like Nakari in a lot of matchups, but I know Koops, who also plays a lot, plays Herald of Slaanesh. Is pretty good. I also like the Chaos Lord of Slaanesh with their Rampage Scepter. They're pretty good. So I think there's better lord choices. While Sigvald is just chilling. He got a lot of value here, but that is because, not to be a dick, just pointing out what happened. Grumps kept Grom next to Sigvald for way too long, where if Grom just left Sigvald alone, Sigvald would not have gotten 1,800 value. So that's a whoopsie on the Greenskin player, and I don't think like a strong part of this build. So either get the Chaos Lord of Slaanesh with his Rampage thing, or an Akari if you feel like playing with him, or the Herald. I think those would be better choices. Basic Demonettes are usually pretty bad, unfortunately, especially versus Greenskins, where they're not going to have a lot of armor. Their armor piercing is not usually worth it, and they just crumble way too fast. Sibilant Slaughtercade is good. I know Sipa especially uses it a lot versus gun factions like the Empire or Vampire Coast, but as we saw versus the Savage Orc Biggins, even on the charge doesn't do much damage. So the only thing that thing is useful for is being tanky and almost unbreakable for disrupting ranged units, which the Greenskins don't have. So in the Greenskin matchup, I would cut it. Only bring it in matchups where you're scared of the enemy range, like Skaven, Vampire Coast, Empire, maybe Cathay, things like that. Chaos Lords and Hellscourges was fine. The Marauders were fine. That was all fine. The Hellstriders, while I generally think the Whip variant is better, these guys did well for you in this matchup, and I honestly kind of saw it during the fight. If they have Savage versions of the Boar Boys, then those guys are fine, so I'd leave them. But yeah, for the build, cut Sigvald, get a different Lord, cut both the Demonettes and the Sibilant Slaughtercade for the Greenskin specific matchup, and get Chaos Knights are really, really good. Basic Chaos Knights are really good versus Greenskins. Things like that. For your spell choice was solid. I think versus Greenskin specifically, Phantasmagoria is awesome. If you can use it on a flank, that minus 16 AoE net, if you use it on a flank with your Hellstriders and Chaos Knights, you net the Boar Boys in place so they don't get their charge. They get charged, and they have minus 16 leadership. Oh, you can route them off so fast and take them out of the map, and then you got mobility advantage. That'd be really nice. So I think there's some slight optimizations your build could use versus Greenskins. Your play was good. In-game, your play was good. I think your build let you down. But I didn't really notice any massive mistakes out of you or anything. Your Hellstriders took good engagements. They were just a little outclassed. Your infantry took good engagements. They were just a little outclassed, things like that. But yeah, I think you played well. For Grumps, the build's a little weird. I don't love trolls, personally. The Goblin Caster ended up doing okay. Grom did okay. I think you also played pretty well. Some of your stuff, when it routed, needed to get orders back to the fight quickly. More quickly than you gave them, but like, you played overall pretty fine. Your build worked out. I've seen a lot of Orc Boys recently, and I don't know why, though versus Slaanesh, I guess I could see it, because the Slaanesh frontline has low armor and high melee attack, so if you just want to deal damage back to them, the Orc Boys are okay. Orc Biggins I've been liking more and more recently, so yeah. If you want any advice, I would cut the Trolls and get Stone Trolls, if you could find the money somewhere. I'd also probably cut the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins versus Slaanesh, just because Slaanesh is real good at punishing you if you have low armor. I suppose they're also good at punishing high armor, but at least they have to invest more money in that for like Heart Seekers, and then that's a bit more of a problem. But like Chaos Knights will do well into Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. if they get the charge, whereas Chaos Knights struggle a little bit more versus the regular version. So, yeah. Also, I don't love Grom. I'd probably go with Azhag. Azhag with Fate of Buna. It's really guaranteed value versus Slaanesh. They have no healing, so maybe think about that. Okay. That was the long post-game portion, but I know Yashkov had specifically asked me for advice on that one, so I thought I'd just do that. Let's move on. This one is much shorter, much sweeter, with Pasha and Power Chan. Oh, Demons of Chaos versus Dark Elves. A top-tier faction versus bottom. Versus a bottom-tier faction. And Be'lakor. Be'lakor, you only really see him versus low leadership factions like Skaven and maybe Beastmen these days. Taking him versus Dark Elves is bold. So for them, we have Pink Horrors of Tzeentch, the Sour Guts, the RR Pink Horrors. We have Demonettes of Slaanesh, Bloodletters of Khorne, Exalted Plaguebearers of Nurgle, some Plague Toads of Chaos Furies, and Be'lakor. Be'lakor did bring Pit of Shades, Enfeebling Foe, and then a Shadow Shroud, Lord of Torment, Whispers, everything. So he's a big, thick boy. On the side, we have Dread Spears and Bleak Swords for front lines, some Witch Elves for some of that Rampage. Charybdis, originally I saw John FB bringing this in matchups with demonic units, and I really like the tech piece. Anti-large duelist, poison, all that stuff, but it's really that -8 leadership you want, because the Demons of Chaos rely very heavily on large things carrying them, so you can get a Charybdis to kill whatever they're going to try and take to carry them, but also that -8 leadership debuff just abuses their demonic instability crumbling, which is their weakest point right now. So the Charybdis is a 1-2 punch that is very good against Demons of Chaos. And even some demon factions like Nurgle, it's pretty good. Khorne, it's pretty good. Things like that. So I just really like it. We have a Firecaster on a Dragon with Burning Head, Cascading Firecloak, and Flaming Sword of Ruin, and then 2 Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows, some Blackdark Corsairs with Handbows. Just one, actually, on the flanks. So solid Dark Elf build. Like it a lot. The only change I would maybe make is get some more standing Dark Shards over the Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows. They just have a higher DPS, and your Skirmish Cav isn't going to do much here that standing archers wouldn't do. Like, the demons are still going to shoot back at them if they feel like doing it. So Cascading Firecloak and Opal Amulet pop to give some defensive stats to the Supreme Sorceress of Fire, but she is still outclassed in a duel with Be'lakor. He is a very, very good melee combatant, especially if you pop Shadow Shroud for that extra damage resistance. She might want to just land and... Oh, a nasty Pit of Shades! As the Dark Elves clump up, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see, but sending so many infantry units on top of each other, you can get really punished like this. Pit of Shades hits 3 expensive units. I guess the Bleak Swords aren't that expensive, but 450 ain't exactly cheap either. As the Demons of Chaos are rolling through this Dark Elf front line, they're having a very bad time, are the Dark Elves. Meanwhile, Be'lakor continues to take the duel to the Sorceress of Fire, and something's coming down. It looks like a Tier 2 army ability of Tzeentch, cast by Be'lakor as he does damage to that Supreme Sorceress of Fire. Big damage on those guys. Burning Head goes straight through. Hurts the Bloodletters, but it also finishes off some of the Dark Elves. And the Dark Elf front line is taking a lot of damage. Their skirmish units are under attack by Furies, and the Charybdis has just now joined the fight against the Exalted Plaguebearers, who will hold an awfully long time. Be'lakor still taking the fight with the Sorceress. She does not like this prolonged engagement, even though she casts a second Cascading Firecloak on herself. Sour Guts in the distance, shooting in, doing what they can, but the Blades of Blood Queen are not going to enjoy fighting Bloodletters or Demonettes, all those armor-piercing units. And the Blades of Blood Queen is interesting, and I'll say, honestly, just a bad pick into the Demons of Chaos. Their high armor-piercing values are worthless against the demonic factions. Nothing on the Demon roster has armor-piercing worth that. But the demons have a lot of armor piercing on their side, so your armor won't protect you. Sorceress of Fire under attack by Be'lakor, who is not giving up at all. Shadow Shroud is popped as he goes after. Enfeebling Foe on her as well, but Opal Amulet tries to keep her safe as the Sour Guts are firing up and over the front line. The Charybdis is here, though, to duel with Be'lakor and to lower the leadership of all these units. He's going to get these Plague Toads of Nurgle to start demonic instability crumbling. And the Exalted Plaguebearers might be soon behind, so the Charybdis is showing his value. And another Cascading Firecloak tries to save her. Fascination tried to Rampage her, but as soon as she routs, it doesn't matter because routing takes precedent over Rampage. Blades of the Blood Queen are entirely eliminated, not even routing, just straight up dead. As a Blackdark Corsair Handbow and a Dark Rider Repeater Crossbow continue to fire into the Demons of Chaos, the Sour Guts are firing away. And Be'lakor,
is rampaging. He's trying to get into the sky to chase down the Firecaster, but now he's turning around to fight the Charybdis. And honestly, he should just go after the caster. He needs to get away from this Charybdis, as he's getting so many hits on him. He does turn and fight at last. Harpies in the distance. Furies, sorry. Same ass unit, but whatever. Furies chase off those skirmish cap. And again, the Dark Elves are blobbing up a bit much here. They do need to separate out their forces and maybe get some better surrounds or something. But all these units sitting on top of the Plague Bearer is just asking for a Pit of Shades or something to kill them off. Big breath attack from the Dark Elf caster. Can it mostly hit Be'lakor, or will it friendly fire the Charybdis a bit? Honestly, it kind of missed both, which is just fine. The Sour Guts push themselves away from some Bleak Swords, and the Charybdis leadership is dipping a little bit, but he's getting so much value onto Be'lakor. He even gets a Flaming Sword of Ruin for fire and magic attacks. As Be'lakor attacks the incoming flying caster, as she was on her way down, his leadership is faltering. His health is faltering too. He goes down to Demonic Instability area, and he is going to fall apart as the Dark Elves hang on to their lord. We have some Chaos Furies in the distance that need to come back to the fight, but it might all be over without Be'lakor. I really don't see how they're going to win this game. Be'lakor is dead. That leaves just an Exalted Plague Bearer and the Sour Guts. That was a very close game, but Bellacor's inability to finish off the Dark Elf caster and his willingness to just fight the Charybdis rather than get up into the sky and chase off this lady maybe cost them the game. But also just being the Demons of Chaos probably cost them the game, as they did so much damage, they did so well, but Demonic Instability takes out any unit that gets low enough, while the Dark Elves are able to rally and come back over and over again. It was a good game, though. It was spicy. It was short. For Pasha and Be'lakor, 2,900 value. Exalted Plague Bearers lasted forever. Sour Guts did well. Bloodletters and Demonettes did fine, fighting the Blades of the Blood Queen. Other Pink Horrors got shut down. Plague Tone and Chaos Furies did okay. For this build, if you're going to use the Pink Horrors how you use them, I just turn them into Blue Horrors. If they're only going to get off a couple shots, then just be in melee. Might as well have the Blue Horrors who are meant for that. Keep the Sour Guts, get the Blue Horror Regiment every now and you'll be fine. I don't love Demonettes and basic Bloodletters, because you won't always get the Blades of the Blood Queen for them to fight. Might just want to get more Plague Bearers for a holding front line, because Plague Bearers do really well in melee combat. But this is like, I don't know. I'm giving advice for just an unwinnable matchup, it feels. Be'lakor did better than I would have thought, and maybe that is the key to this, is he's just so good at rolling around and disrupting things, and the Chaos Furies did really well at stopping these repeater crossbows from firing too much. I suppose. But you can't outshoot the Dark Elves as the Demons of Chaos, and you can't really outrush them either. It's just hard. It's hard until the Demons of Chaos get some light cavalry. If they can get some light demonic cavalry, like Seekers are kind of that, but they're 1,000 gold. And Fleshhounds are kind of that, but they're dog units. They don't have good impact, right? You need both. You need the impact of cavalry, but the price point of the dogs. Because if you think about basic Warriors of Chaos, like, you have the Hellstriders of Slaanesh for 700 gold, or you have Centaurs on Beastmen for 700 gold. Like, those are good light cav options. The Beastmen just don't, the Demons of Chaos just don't have them. So, if they got light cav, a lot of their matchups would be more doable. Anyway, Charybdis did amazing. Firecaster also did pretty well. Blades of the Blood Queen got wrecked. Witch Elves mixed. The ranged units did fine. And the front line got mixed value. So, GG. Final game of the new player showcase. We have Hummus's Hubby, which is Fat Kid at Recess, versus Renner. Beastmen versus Greenskins. What do we got here? For the Beastmen, Ungor herds sprinting out onto the front line. 3 Ungor raiders, then some Chaos spawn mixed with Minotaurs, including the Butcher's Scouting Guard. We have Morgur for 2 more spawn summons and a Brace Shaman Wild Traderkin. Some Centaurs throwing X's in the trees. On the side of the Greenskins and Renner, we have Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers plus Morgur Mainstream Marauder. We have Grom the Paunch and Orc Shaman with Here We Go and Brainburster. Orc Biggins and Savage Orcs as a front line mixed in with Goblins. Orc Aura Boys, Broken Tusk Mob, other Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and more Orc Biggins. This is a Biggin Orc build, with also Savage Orcs mixed in. Frontline is off to a crushing start as Savage Orcs try and fight back against these Ungor Spearman herds, and they'll do okay, but they're also fighting Spawn and getting shot by archers at the same time. which is usually why you don't see the 550 Savage Orcs. I really like Savage Orc Biggins, but the basic Savage Orcs just don't seem to have quite that oomph you need. I do take them versus Skaven and versus High Elves because they're two very specific matchups for very specific reasons. Broken Tusk Mob get a wah, but they get rear charged by the Minotaurs because they're pulling away from the spear fight, and then they got kind of lost in the sauce in the high ground, so they do need new orders, while other Orc Borbor Biggins go back to kill off some archers. The Orc front line is holding, though, as the Beastmen are being sent home packing first overall. Call to Violence is the only thing keeping the Spearman herd in the fight for now. Here we go is popped on the Broken Tusk Mob to give them better melee stats, but they're already in a losing fight. It looks like some archers are trying to support them while they can. Meanwhile, the first of Morgur's Chaos Spawn summons is out onto the backline of the Greenskins. We have a bunch of Savage Orc and Orc Biggins that do need to get back into action. They need to start moving. Traderkin is cast on to just an Orc Biggin, which it does. In the future, it should only be cast on Ground the Paunch or the enemy caster or blobs, but it doesn't do that much damage to just a single infantry. Savage Orcs and Goblins stacked up fighting the Butchers of Kalkengard. Ground the Paunch rear charges a Bray Shaman of Wilds, trying to get some damage onto him. Morgur's on the other side of the battlefield doing fine, but Grom already takes about half HP off the Bray Shaman. Now he's surrounded by the Butchers of Kalkengard. Gonna want to be a little careful, though he does have Orc Biggins offering support and the Greenskins Skirmish Cav firing in from the sidelines. So they're a little clumped up, so they're kind of getting in their own way. At this point, I would want the Greenskin Skirmish Cav to go into melee with these archers or any units that are routing and make sure that they stay routing. Chaos Spawn, literally unbreakable, fighting the archers to the end. We have the second Chaos Spawn summon out for the side of Morgur. So soon, those spawn summons will be off the battlefield, and then the battle will be much more honest as neither side will have any summons left. Brainburster does very little damage to the Centaurs, and Grom still pursued by the Butchers of Kalkengard, though he is getting some peel from his Orc Borbor Biggins, and he finishes sniping the Wilds caster. Beastmen not looking too hot right now. They do have a spawn summon that's artificially inflating their balance of power, but overall the state of the battlefield is not looking great for them, though they are starting to trickle back in and keep firing. There's just so many Greenskin infantry left, and a lot of them are anti-large. It's not even like you can just go, well, Minos will carry me through the late game. As Grom's going to roll out and try and help kill off these Ungor herds. Force Goblin Spider Riders are dealing with them, but the Skirmish Cav need to go into the melee and chase down all these routing units. They can't be allowed to come back, especially that Trader King caster. Centaur's Throwing Axe is going to recharge some Orc Biggins. That's fine. Just let them go. Go get your Skirmish Cav to chase down some stuff. Centaur's Throwing Axes and Chaos Spawn still rolling through the backline of the Greenskins, and they are starting to falter. Even the Orc Biggins aren't having the best time now. But we'll see if they can stick in it. Beastmen are pulling ahead on the Bounce of Power, and these archers and the Bray Shaman and the Ungor Raiders are routing. That could be a very costly mistake for the Greenskins to be making. Grom Paunch fighting it out. That's going to be a much better Traderkin as it hits Grom. Now, he does have his Lucky Banner for just a moment, but it's gone now. So still, good cast overall. Something is happening here. It's an here we go, buffing up all these Orcs and Orc Biggins that are jumping into the fight. The Butchers of Kalkengard do tear out away the Savage Orcs. Goblins are routing, Orc Biggins are routing. It is just this healthy Orc Biggin that stays in the fight for now with the here we go buff. And the Morgur's Mangy Marauders look like they're going for a rear charge, but actually just shooting at something. It's hard to tell what they're actually shooting at. It's Chaos Spawn. Gotcha. The Beastmen spawn summons are all gone. Grom finds another fight with the Bray Shaman of Wilds, and he should body that fool and push him off for real for once and for all this time. Ungor Raiders still fire again. The Force Goblin Spider Riders briefly charged some of those guys, but then they backed off. They're coming to deal with the Butchers of Kalkengard rather than killing off those archers. Which, I mean, I guess I understand you want to shoot at them and poison them, but we got to get these archers to stop firing, guys. Come on. Come on now. Come on, buddy. Chaos Spawn slowly dying off. Morgur is fine. Morgur is chilling. We have more Minos in the distance that can rejoin the fight, and the Greenskins are now in mass access, so we'll see if the Beastmen can dedicate enough resources to pushing them all off. Grom taking damage. He's going to roll through some Ungor Raiders. Morgur's Mangy Marauders shooting in the distance. And the Beastmen continue to grind. Still a good amount of Greenskin infantry left on the battlefield. We have some Savage Orcs over here, Orc Biggins fighting against Morgur and all of them. And a Brainburster does a little bit of friendly fire, but mostly hits the Beastmen units. It would honestly have routed everybody if not for the Call to Violence, keeping those other Ungor Spears in. Last Chaos Spawn is about to die. Greenskins still have a lot of Forest Goblin Spider Riders that could be sweeping up these archers. I hate to keep mentioning it, but it is like it's an important function of skirmish cav is to know when to throw them into melee and know when to use them as archers. Most skirmish cav is meant to be hybrid. Outriders really aren't. Outriders grenade launchers aren't either. Dark Rider Peter Crossbows kind of are, but like Forest Goblins and Wolf Rider archers especially are just meant to go into melee with archers and then run away and shoot their bows behind them as they leave whenever they can't get a good fight like they want. Grom pops all of his buffs to fight the Butchers of Kaldengard, and with his armor sundering, he makes them actually more susceptible to this ranged fire that they're taking, plus the goblins can actually poke away at them too. So that's pretty good. And Here We Go is popped to keep the Savage Orcs in the fight against these basic Minos, and basic Minos don't have terror. It's only the Butchers of Kaldengard that do, so these Savage Orcs should fight for quite a bit longer than usual, as they get good damage on these Minotaurs. Grom is going to rout. He will regenerate as he runs away, so he should be able to come back. Morgur is just being tanky as per usual. The bounce power is a little disingenuous at this point because it usually treats Morgur like he still has both of his summons when he's actually just kind of a meh. These Spider Riders, now that one is out of ammo, it needs to start going into melee combat with some of these archers who I think just took a brain burster off screen because I saw their health bars spike down. Grom is back for now, though, while he's getting shot and then gets rear charged by Centaurs. He should honestly just rout again. Gets a good shot on the Centaurs. He's holding for now. If the Spider Riders can run over and bail him out, then we'll have to leave immediately, though, because these Minotaurs are coming over and Grom can't really take that kind of damage right now. He's still trying to regen up. Orc Shaman and Spider Riders going to take out these Ungor Raiders. Yes! Do it! Do it! Now, these Spider Riders protect Grom. Let Grom get out of there. Spiders, protect him! Nice. They block for Grom. He is going to get out. He is going to regen and stay safe and stay healthy. Butchers of Kaldengard push off these goblins with their terror. Grom does have to fully get out of here. He just needs to run away. He needs to run away and be cagey, heal up while he still can, let his Spider Riders, let his Shaman chase down these archers that they're currently dealing with, which is good, but oh, he does not run away. He runs straight into the arms of the Butchers of Kaldengard. Now he's getting rear charged. Spider Riders start to peel for him again. Their poison and their mass will get the Butchers out of here, but Grom just needs to get away, just needs to get safe. The Greenskins need to slow this game down. Morgur is regenerating, and so are the Butchers of Kaldengard, which is unfortunate, but Grom needs time to heal, and Grom is very important for you. You just need to run down all these archers to buy the time you need. Spider Riders are going to tear it off. The Orc Shaman chucks himself into the Mino pit. He's going to take big damage, and Grom is actually just opting back in. The Greyduns is here, is popped to give him some extra leadership and some extra stats. Force Goblin Spider Riders firing in. Can Grom actually win this fight? Lucky Banner is up, but his HP is dropping down to 120. 70 HP, 80, and he is going to rout, which might take him to safety. I honestly think Grom leaving is the best option here. A Brain Burster tries to hit the Minotaurs, but it's too low on the balance of power. Grom and the boys are going to break. Army losses a hit. That'll be a win for the Beastmen. Notes on both sides. Beastman build was fine. Beastman build was fine. I think the Traitor King casts could have been a little more focused on the correct targets. Yeah, and then the Bray Shaman had to be a little more coy because he just ran into Grom a couple times and straight up took the fight, which is unfortunate. Like, not what you want him to be doing. Chaos Spawn versus Greenskins is an interesting choice. They're really good versus Skaven, but Greenskins actually have a bit more meat on their bones, and they can usually take on Chaos Spawn, so I'd probably just cut the Chaos Spawn, get another Minotaur, and maybe a regular Centaur or something like that, but otherwise this was fine. For Renner, I think his build was really neat. I think his build was really good. It was creative, but also it made sense. Like, Orc Biggins are good against Beastmen. Savage Orcs had their place too. His spells were good. I don't love Grom as a lord in general, but he was fine here. I think the biggest problem for the Greenskins was various mistakes just being done over and over again. So it wasn't like Renner made a million mistakes. Renner made 2 mistakes repeatedly, where it's like being too bold with Grom and not being bold enough with the Spider Rider archers. And I think if he had used the Spider Riders more aggressively in melee with the archers and then kept Grom a little safer in some situations, I think he would have won it. But I liked his build a lot. And I overall liked his play. It was just the Spider Riders. Because his Orc Biggins took really good fights. His Savage Orcs took fine fights. His Orc Auror Boys were shooting at good targets. His Here We Go casts were really good. Like, there's a lot of good things in there, too. Mistakes are just easier to talk about, right? But, yeah, overall he played pretty solid. So GG's there. Grom did all right. Orc Boar Biggins. This one got caught on the hill by some Minos, so they didn't love it, but Orc Biggins did great. Savage Orcs did fine. Orc Armor Boys didn't get a lot of value, but they were annoying. And that is ZGG.
Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.